What if I told you that your struggle for financial blessing has almost nothing to do with how hard you work? What if it has nothing to do with how many hours you put in, how fervently you pray, or even how good of a person you believe you are? Take a breath with me on that one. Because that idea, that single thought, runs contrary to everything we've been taught. We're taught to grind, to hustle, to pray harder, give more, be better. And when the blessing doesn't come, when the bank account remains stubbornly empty, when the anxiety about next month's rent becomes a knot in your stomach at 3 in the morning, we turn the blame inward. What am I doing wrong? Am I being punished? Has God forgotten me? The silence that answers those questions can be deafening. It can erode faith, crush hope, and leave a soul feeling utterly and terrifyingly alone, adrift in a cosmos that seems indifferent to our plight. The pain of that feeling is real. It's a cold weight in the chest. It's the phantom vibration of a phone you hope is a new opportunity. It's the forced smile at a family gathering when someone asks how your business is going. I see you. I understand that ache. But what if the entire premise is wrong? What if the blockage isn't a judgment from on high, but a subtle distortion within? What if there are ancient, almost forgotten patterns of thought, habits of the soul, that we have unknowingly adopted? Habits that act like spiritual static, like a kink in a hose, disrupting the flow of divine provision that is, and always has been, aimed directly at you. These aren't sins in the way we typically think of them. They are more like misalignments. They are subtle. They are insidious. And almost everyone has at least one of them. Today, we are going on a journey together. We will not be talking about investment strategies or side hustles. We will be talking about the architecture of the soul. We are going to shine a light into the dusty corners of our inner world and identify 4 of these habits. We will name them. We will understand their ancient roots, and we will learn together how to gently and lovingly release them. This is not another lecture to make you feel guilty. This is an invitation to freedom. An invitation to peace, an invitation to finally receive the blessings that have your name on them. So, stay with me. Your paradigm is about to shift. Let's begin. The first habit, the first great obstacle, is one that cloaks itself in practicality, in responsibility. It whispers to you that it is wise. It feels like common sense. But in truth, it is a spiritual malady. It is the habit of living under the perpetual shadow of scarcity. I am not just talking about a poverty mindset. This is deeper. It is a foundational belief, often unconscious, that the universe is fundamentally lacking, that there isn't enough to go around, not enough time, not enough money, not enough opportunity, not enough love. It is a spiritual state of being that says, I must hoard what I have, for tomorrow there will be nothing. It is a clenched fist, guarding a few precious crumbs, terrified of the empty space outside its grasp. Imagine, for a moment, the Israelites in the desert. Picture the scene. The sun has not yet breached the horizon. A cool, pre-dawn silence hangs over the sprawling camp. You step out of your tent, and you see it. Covering the ground like a fine frost is a substance you've never seen before. Manna, bread from heaven. A miracle, delivered fresh to your doorstep every single morning. The divine instruction was simple and profound. Gather enough for today, only for today. Do not save any for tomorrow. Think about the trust required for that command. It's a command to live with an open hand, to believe, not just intellectually but with your entire being, that the sun will rise tomorrow, and with it, the provision will come again. It is an invitation into a rhythm of grace, a daily dance of receiving and trusting. But some couldn't do it. The fear was too strong. The shadow of scarcity, born from generations of slavery in Egypt where everything was rationed and earned through suffering, was too dark. So they disobeyed. Secretly, they gathered extra. They hid it away in their tents, feeling clever, feeling secure. Now I have a buffer, they thought. Now I am safe. But what did they find the next morning? The book of Exodus tells us, with stark, almost nauseating detail, that the hoarded manna bred worms and stank. That which was a blessing when received in trust became a curse when held in fear. It rotted. The very thing they clutched for security became a source of decay and foulness in their own homes. Now bring that image into your life today. What is the manna you are trying to hoard? Is it money? Do you check your bank balance with a nervous flutter, your mood for the day dictated by the number you see? Do you hold your breath when you swipe your card, living with a constant, low-grade hum of financial anxiety? Your mind says it's responsible, but your soul feels the rot. The joy of what you have is eclipsed by the fear of what you might lose. This isn't about being wasteful. It's about the spirit in which we hold what we have. A clenched fist cannot receive. It's a simple physical truth, and it's a profound spiritual one. When we live in the shadow of scarcity, we are constantly clenching. We are trying to hold onto yesterday's manna, and it is stinking up our lives. It breeds the worms of anxiety, of jealousy, of comparison. It makes us unable to be generous, not just with money, but with our time, with our praise for others, with our love. Because we fear if we give any of it away, our own supply will run out. The divine truth, the paradigm shift, is this: abundance is not a storehouse you fill. It is a river that flows. Your job is not to build a dam and hoard the water. Your job is to stand in the river, to cup your hands and drink for today, to trust that the river, whose source is infinite, will still be flowing tomorrow. The first step to unblocking your blessing is to consciously step out of the shadow of scarcity. It begins with gratitude for today's manna, no matter how small it seems. It's looking at your life right now and finding the provision that is already there, the roof over your head. And resist the urge to worry about tomorrows. This is an act of spiritual warfare against the lie that you are on your own. Let your hands unclench. Feel the tension release from your shoulders. Take a breath. The antidote to scarcity is not wealth. It's trust. A trust that the same grace that provided for you today is already on its way for tomorrow. When you begin to live in this truth, you create space. You unclog the channel, you stop hoarding rot, and you start receiving grace. What if you chose, just for today, to believe there is enough? Think about that for a moment. How would that single choice change the way you walk through the next 24 hours? The second habit is a gilded cage. It is perhaps the most seductive, the most celebrated idol of our modern world. It is the habit of chaining your self-worth to your net worth. It is the worship of the god we have been taught to call mammon. When we hear the name mammon, we typically think of money, of greed, of golden coins. But this is a shallow understanding. To truly grasp what Jesus meant when he gave his stark, uncompromising warning, we must go to the original Aramaic. The word mammon does not simply mean wealth. Its root means that in which one trusts, that in which one places their confidence, their security, their identity. Now the landscape changes, doesn't it? Mammon isn't just the paper in your wallet. Mammon is the job title you introduce yourself with. Mammon is the number of likes on your social media post. Mammon is the prestigious neighborhood you live in, the brand of car you drive, the degree hanging on your wall. Mammon is anything and everything outside of God that we look to for a reflection of our value. It is the modern golden calf, and its glow comes from 1,000 different screens, all whispering the same insidious lie. You are what you have. You are what you achieve. And so, we begin the great, exhausting performance of our lives. We chase the promotion, not for the fulfillment of the work, but for the validation of the title. We post our curated lives online, not to share joy, but to harvest affirmation. We become human doings, not human beings. Our sense of peace, our sense of self, rises and falls with the stock market, with our job security, with the approval of others. We are, in essence, serving mammon. We are trusting in it. And Jesus' words echo with terrifying clarity. You cannot serve both God and mammon. Notice he doesn't say, you should not. He says, you cannot. It's not a moral suggestion. It's a statement of spiritual physics. It is an impossibility. Why? Imagine you are standing between two mirrors. You can only look into one at a time to see your own reflection. You cannot simultaneously find your reflection in both. When you seek your value in the mirror of mammon, in your financial status, in your worldly success, you have, by definition, turned your back on the mirror of God, which reflects your true, inherent, unshakable worth as a beloved child of the Creator. This is the blockage. When your prayers for financial provision are secretly prayers for validation, for a sign that you are good enough, you are praying to the wrong God. You are asking mammon to bless you, and mammon is a cruel master. Its blessings are temporary, and they always demand more. The promotion is great until you want the next one. The new car is thrilling until it gets its first scratch, or your neighbor buys a better one. The treadmill of earning your worth never, ever stops. It is designed to keep you running, breathless and anxious forever. The pain of this habit is the deep soul, crushing exhaustion it creates. It's the feeling of being an imposter, terrified that one day everyone will find out you're not as successful or as put together as you pretend to be. It's the bitterness that seeps in when you see someone else receive the success you feel you deserve. It's a spiritual bondage masquerading as ambition. So how do we break free? We must perform a great decoupling, a conscious, intentional, and repeated act of separating your soul, worth, from your net worth. It begins by meditating on a truth that is so simple, yet so revolutionary. Your worth is not negotiable. It was sealed, established, and made infinite at the moment of your creation. Before you ever earned a dollar, before you ever achieved a goal, before you ever won a single person's approval, you were already infinitely valuable. Full stop. Consider the lilies of the field. As Jesus urged, they do not toil or spin. They do not worry about their status or compete with the rose next to them. They simply are. And in their being, they are clothed in a splendor greater than Solomon's. What a radical concept! That our value is in our being, not our doing. The spiritual practice here is to catch yourself. When you feel the sting of envy, or the puff of pride, or the cold dread of financial fear, ask yourself, what mirror am I looking in right now? Is it the fluctuating, cracked mirror of mammon? Or is it the steady, clear, loving mirror of God? True financial blessing cannot flow into a life that uses money as a substitute for God. Because if the money comes, it will only strengthen the idol. The real blessing, the one your soul truly craves, is not just the provision, but the peace that comes with it. A peace that says, even if all this was taken away, I am still whole. I am still loved. I am still worthy. When you stop trying to earn your worth, you are freed up to truly create, to serve, to work from a place of passion and purpose, not from a place of fear and neediness. You stop chasing mammon and you start positioning yourself to receive the blessings of God. And those blessings enrich the soul, they do not enslave it. Let that sink in. Your worth is a settled matter. Now, you are free to live. The third habit is one of the most hidden and one of the most powerful. It operates in the dark emotional dungeons of the soul. It feels intensely personal, like a secret shame or a righteous anger we carry. It is the habit of holding on to unforgiven debts. This is a spiritual law that is as real and as immutable as gravity. And it is a double-edged sword. It relates both to the debts we believe others owe us and the debts we believe we owe. Imagine your soul, your very essence, is a vessel. A cup designed to be filled to overflowing with grace, with peace, with provision. Now, imagine that every grudge you hold against someone who has wronged you is a hairline crack in that cup. Imagine that every heavy weight of guilt or shame you carry for your own past mistakes is another crack. The bitterness you feel toward a business partner who cheated you, crack. The resentment toward a parent who failed you, crack. The shame over a past financial failure, crack. The self-loathing for a moment of weakness, crack. Soon, the vessel is so fractured, so compromised, that no matter how much blessing is poured into it, it cannot hold it. It leaks out as fast as it comes in. You pray for provision, but your soul has no capacity to retain it. You are spiritually and emotionally hemorrhaging. Jesus spoke of this principle with chilling clarity in the parable of the unforgiving servant. Let's not just read it, let's enter it. Feel the sheer terror of the first servant, dragged before the king, owing a debt so colossal, 10,000 talents. It was literally unpayable. It was more than the entire tax revenue of a small country. It was a death sentence. And then, feel the tidal wave of impossible grace as the king, moved with compassion, simply cancels it. All of it. Gone. Can you imagine the lightness in that servant's chest, the dazed, euphoric walk out of the palace? He is a free man. His future has been handed back to him. And then the story turns. This same man, moments later, finds a fellow servant who owes him 100 denarii, a tiny sum. Pocket change compared to the fortune he was just forgiven, and he grabs him by the throat. He chokes him, screaming, "Pay what you owe me." He refuses to show an ounce of the mercy that just saved his life. The spiritual logic is breathtaking. The parable ends with the king handing the unforgiving servant over to be tormented until he could pay back the original, impossible debt. The message is not that God is a vindictive king. The message is that this is how the spiritual world works. The torment comes not from the king, but from the unforgiveness itself. By refusing to forgive the small debt, the servant reactivated his own massive debt. He closed the very channel of grace through which his own salvation had flowed. Think about this. How can we stand before the divine, before the cosmos, and ask for our debts to be forgiven? Our shortcomings, our needs, our lack. If our fists are clenched around the small debts others owe us, this isn't just about money, far from it. The most corrosive debts are emotional. Has someone betrayed your trust? Has someone spoken ill of you? Has someone failed to see your worth? These things create a debt in our hearts, and we hold onto the ledger, we review it. We nurse the wound. We tell ourselves that our anger is righteous, that our grudge is justified, and perhaps it is. But the spiritual reality is that the poison we are brewing for them, we are drinking ourselves. It is cracking our own vessel. The same is true for the debts we hold against ourselves, the business that failed, the investment that went south, the job you lost. We carry these events not as lessons, but as brands of shame. We flagellate ourselves with if-onlys. If only I had been smarter. If only I hadn't been so foolish. This self-condemnation is a refusal to accept our own forgiveness. We are telling God, the universe, that its grace is not sufficient for that particular failure. What arrogance, what a heavy, useless burden. The act of forgiveness, then, is not a favor you do for the person who wronged you. In many cases, they will never even know. Forgiveness is an act of radical self-preservation. It is the spiritual art of sealing the cracks in your own vessel. It is you deciding that you want to be a container for blessing more than you want to be a museum of past hurts. It is looking at the ledger with all its justified claims and with a deep breath setting it on fire. It is looking in the mirror at your own past failures and saying, that debt has been paid. I am free. This is not easy work. It is the deep work of the soul. It may require prayer, meditation, therapy, or all of the above. But it is non-negotiable if you want to clear the blockage. Every drop of bitterness you hold on to displaces a drop of blessing. That is meant for you today. Who do you need to forgive? Not for them, but for you. Who is the one person whose name just flashed in your mind that you need to release from the prison in your heart so that you can finally walk free yourself? And can you extend that same grace to the person in the mirror? The peace that awaits on the other side of that choice is a form of wealth that money can never buy. But it is the very foundation upon which true, lasting abundance is built. We've journeyed through some deep territory together. We've faced the shadow of scarcity, the idol of misplaced worth, and the prison of unforgiven debts. Each one is a significant blockage. But now we arrive at the heart of the matter. The fourth and final habit. This is the master habit, the one that often holds the other three in place. It is the most subtle, the most profound, and understanding it has the power to change not just your finances, but your entire perception of reality. It is the habit of being blind to invisible currencies. For our entire lives, we have been conditioned, educated, and indoctrinated to recognize wealth in one form: money, dollars, pounds, euros, yen. It is the universal language of value in our world. We measure the success of a company, the progress of a nation, and often the worth of a person by this single, narrow metric. Our vision has been trained to see one color, the color of money. But what if I told you this is a profound and tragic form of color blindness? What if I told you that the economy of heaven, the true reality of the divine, operates on a vast and vibrant spectrum of currencies, and we are only able to perceive one? What if you are, right now, a multi-currency millionaire, but you feel broke because you keep trying to spend your divine riches in a system that doesn't recognize their value? Let this idea land. Invisible currencies. What are they? Let's name some of them. There is the currency of time. That pristine, non-renewable resource of minutes and hours that you are given anew each day. How are you investing it? Are you spending it on things that drain your soul or things that fill it? A single hour spent in deep, focused creation or in loving connection with another human being can yield a return that is immeasurable in dollars, but infinite in spiritual value. There is the currency of wisdom. Not just knowledge from books, but the deep, intuitive understanding forged in the fires of experience, failure, and reflection. When King Solomon stood before God, he was offered anything he wanted: riches, long life, victory over his enemies. He could have asked for the greatest material blessing imaginable. But he asked for one thing: a wise and discerning heart. He asked for a different kind of currency. And because he chose the invisible currency of wisdom, the scripture says he was given the visible currency of riches and honor as well. He understood the divine exchange rate. There is the currency of relationships, the profound wealth of having people in your life who would drop everything to be there for you in a crisis. The richness of a friendship built on trust and vulnerability, the deep asset of a community that supports and uplifts you. In our chase for money, we often sacrifice this currency, neglecting friends and family, thinking we will reconnect once we are successful. We are trading gold for dust. There is the currency of peace, that quiet stillness in the soul that the world cannot give and cannot take away. The ability to sleep at night, free from the gnawing anxieties of scarcity and worthiness. This is not a passive state. It is a powerful asset. A mind at peace is a creative mind, an innovative mind, a resilient mind. How much is that worth? There is the currency of divine ideas and opportunities. Those flashes of inspiration, those coincidences, those open doors that appear as if from nowhere. These are deposits from the divine into the bank account of your life. But if we are blind to them, if we are too busy worrying about our monetary lack to notice the opportunity that just presented itself, the deposit goes unclaimed. Health, creativity, resilience, joy. Each one is a form of divine currency, a stream of value flowing into your life. Now, here is the great realization, the aha moment that untangles the knot. The reason so many of us feel blocked and impoverished is that we are devaluing the very currencies we are richest in. You might be lamenting your lack of money while squandering your immense wealth of time on distraction and worry. You might feel poor because you can't afford a luxury vacation while ignoring the treasure of a deep, loving relationship sitting right in front of you. You are trying to cash a check of profound peace at the Bank of Mammon, and the teller looks at you blankly and says, "This has no value here." This blindness is the ultimate blockage, because it is our focus that directs the flow of energy in our lives. By obsessing over the one currency, we feel we lack money. We energetically devalue and neglect the vast fortunes we already possess. We let our true wealth atrophy. The paradigm shift is to become a conscious multi-currency investor. It is to wake up each morning and take inventory of your full portfolio. Not just the bank account, but your portfolio of time, of health, of relationships, of ideas, of peace. The spiritual practice is to actively appreciate these invisible currencies. What you appreciate appreciates. This is a mystical law. When you begin to consciously value and honor your time, you will find you have more of it. When you actively nurture the currency of your relationships, they will pay you dividends of joy and support that are priceless. When you invest in your peace of mind, you create the fertile ground from which all other good things can grow. This is not about pretending you don't need money. We live in a world where money is a necessary tool. This is about reordering your reality. It's about seeking the true riches first. It is about pursuing wisdom, peace, and love, knowing that when you are aligned with the divine economy, the material tools you need will be provided. You are not broke. You are a citizen of a kingdom that runs on a different economy. You simply need to learn to see and to value its currencies. Open your eyes. Your wealth is all around you. It is flowing to you in 1,000 unseen ways. The blockage was never a locked door. It was a blindfold. It is time to take it off. So, where do we go from here? We have traveled a long road, looked into some dark corners, and hopefully emerged into a brighter light. We have seen how the shadow of scarcity makes us hoard rotting manna, how the idol of mammon forces us to run on an exhausting treadmill to earn a worth that is already ours. We have felt the weight of unforgiven debts and the cracks they create in our very souls. And finally, we have uncovered the profound blindness that has kept us from seeing the kaleidoscope of currencies that enrich our lives every single day. The feeling of being blocked is real. The anxiety is real. But the cause is not what we thought. It is not a punishment. It is not a cosmic oversight. It is a misalignment, a misperception, a series of subtle habits that, over time, have created a powerful spiritual dam. The invitation now is not to hustle harder, to pray with more desperation, or to berate yourself for your past habits. The invitation is one of gentle, compassionate correction. It is an invitation to shift your perception. Tonight, when you pray, don't just pray for more money. Pray for eyes to see the wealth you already possess. Pray for the courage to step out of the shadow of scarcity and trust in the provision of this day. Pray for the wisdom to find your worth in the mirror of God, not mammon. Pray for the strength to forgive, to set fire to the ledgers of resentment and shame, and to seal the vessel of your soul. Pray for the vision to see the invisible currencies all around you. Take a real inventory. Write it down. What is your net worth in the currency of love today? In the currency of health? In the currency of time? In the currency of wisdom gained through hardship? Acknowledge it. Honor it. Be grateful for it. For this is the great secret. What you focus on expands. What you are grateful for multiplies. When you shift your primary pursuit from the acquisition of money to the cultivation of these true divine riches, something miraculous begins to happen. The anxiety subsides. A sense of profound, abiding peace begins to take its place. And from that place of peace, of wholeness, of trust, the material provision you need often begins to flow in the most unexpected and effortless ways. Because you are no longer chasing it, you are no longer blocking it with your fear and your striving. You are simply in alignment with the flow of universal good. You are an open channel. You are not cursed. You are not forgotten. You are standing in the middle of a treasure house, and you have finally been given the key. Turn it. The door was never locked. You simply needed to see it for what it was. Walk through it. Your inheritance awaits.